All right, we are doing it live once again. And we're going to add the Amazon stream here. Bear with me and we'll get going. Just waiting for Amazon to get the stream data. Aha. There we go. Okay. I think we're live on Amazon. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So today we are taking a look, kind of a first look, at a Chromebook. That rhymes. This is an Intel-based Chromebook from Lenovo. And this came in on loan from Lenovo, so we'll be sending it back to them when we're done. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm a little run down today. I'm a little tired, so we're going to just be chilled today. So I want to say hello to some folks who are popping in. Meepy Bro is here. Non-Rev Guy is here. NC Streb from Maine is here. William Wilkinson is here. Romeric is here. Eric's Variety Channel is here right when we started. I started later. Usually, this past week I've been early. Today I'm later. And yes, if you go check my Twitter, Non-Rev Guy, you can see what I configured mine. I got the 14-inch. Ed just got their his notification. Yes, it looks like the notifications are working because a bunch of you just showed up. Randolph Slavin is here. Ed Brewer is here. Butthead is here, wanting me to do Butthead, do a review of the BrainShip 5. Not sure what that is. I could use one today. So yeah, so this is a Chromebook from Lenovo. Now, there's a link in the video description to Amazon where they have an actually more powerful version of this that's pretty reasonably priced. I think it's the same machine. So this one has the Tiger Lake, I think it's a Tiger Lake Pentium chip, the 7505. And then it's got 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. The one on Amazon has an i3 and 64 gigs of storage. So that one that you'll see in the link is a little better than this one is from a configuration standpoint. So let me just double check that because I just want to see what the specs are on the Amazon machines. I think the Amazon one looks like a pretty good deal. And you know, Chromebooks are good little devices to have. My kids use Chromebooks at school. So if we go to the page here, I'm just looking at this real quick. Yeah, so this one on Amazon has 64 gigabytes of storage. I'm trying to see how much RAM it has. So same RAM, more storage. That's the difference there. So take a look at it. I think it's a good machine. And hopefully my Amazon feed is working here. I don't see it streaming. So if you're watching on Amazon, let me know if you can see it because my web browser doesn't seem to get to the live stream here. Let me just double check a different page here. Yeah, very strange. What is going on here? Return to live stream. Yeah, we're running. Well, if you're on Amazon, let me know if you see this because the stream is like just showing a thumbnail. And I don't know if it's just my computer that's acting up or if it's actually not working. Let me try another link here, and then we'll get started. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it is working. All right, so. And Jose is here. Hello. And Rich likes these because on Fridays. Yeah, I was gonna do another one of those magazine openings, but I had this thing come in and I wanted to get to it early next week. So we're gonna start off with the unboxing. Let me get a better view of the process here. So this is what it is. And this has a 16:9 display. We've been seeing a lot of those like 3:2s and the 16:10s. This one kind of goes back to a more traditional aspect ratio. And then we've got our power connector in here. I'm guessing a USB Type-C connector. And what do we got? Yep, USB-C. So 45-watt power adapter. And why don't we take a look at it real quick. So the specs on this one are a little different than the one that'll be linked to on Amazon. Actually, the Amazon one is a better deal than this one currently is. So this has a Pentium 7505, and the one on Amazon I think has an i3 processor on board. Yeah, so the Amazon one is, let's see. Yeah, the Amazon one is an i3 1110U processor. And so that one's going to be slightly faster than what we're going to see with this one from a benchmarking standpoint. But it's got 4 gigs of RAM in both configurations. This one has 32 gigabytes of storage. So what do we got for ports on here? Well, we've got a USB-C, a USB-A, headphone jack, SD card reader. You're going to need that on this one. Another USB-C, Kensington lock, volume rocker, and power. And let's take a look and see what it's asking me to do here. So it wants to know, do I want to activate Chromevox? We'll skip that. Let's get started. And we'll log into my test account that I use. So bear with me for 1 second, everybody. I got a haircut today, in case you were wondering. So let me just get this connected up. And we'll also connect it to power. The battery came fully charged. So we're good there. What it's doing right now is updating. So that, of course, is something that happens every time you buy a computer. And sometimes every time you turn on a computer, it updates, right? All right, so we're going to set this up for me. Yeah, so this is one of those 16 by 9 displays. So it's going to be better for media watching. You're not going to have those letter boxes top and bottom. Keyboard doesn't feel great on this. I've seen better Lenovo keyboards. There's not a lot of travel to the keys. All right, I'm going to have it review that when we get going here. All right, so we're going to get set up here. And we're starting from scratch on this thing. And once I get this thing undone here, we're going to skip the phone process. Jan wants to know, what's the weight? I have no idea. It feels like it's probably around 3 pounds or so. I have to look. Like I said, I'm just taking this out of the box, so I don't know. Yeah, 2.97 pounds is what they're saying, so right around the 3 pound mark. All right, let's plug in that. And we'll plug this in. And what we'll do today is just kind of get this thing set up, and we'll install some Linux apps on it, just kind of get it to a place where I can finish up the review of it on Monday or Tuesday. And they make PCs that are very similar to this, so if you like the way this one looks, you can get a PC version of it if Chrome OS is not your thing. And what I'm going to do first, before we do anything else, is check and see if there is an update on this. And bear with me because it connected to the wrong Wi-Fi. So let's connect to my main Wi-Fi. Now I'm curious if it, KH is here on Amazon, by the way. I am curious, actually, if it supports Wi-Fi 6. So I'm going to check my Unify thing here and have a look at that, because I don't have the specs handy on this. But we'll see what it has on board. So if we go in to my client list here, You know, it's not showing up on, there it is. Okay, so this one is Wi-Fi 6. So it does support that. Okay, so let's go back to this thing and its update. So we'll go to About Chrome OS and do a update check. I will imagine that it's probably going to download an update to the OS and the browser. And we're going to peel off the sticker here. There is a webcam on here. This is 720p, I believe. But you do have the little shutter that Lenovo puts on their computers on here. And Jamie Carr loves Chrome OS. It's the evening there. It's 8 p.m. in the UK. We're in prime time. Yeah, so right now it is about 3 o'clock here. So we're going to let this thing update real quick, and then we'll see how it performs. Do some basic tests on it and stuff. This is the overhead. So you can see where the speakers are. You got like a speaker here and here. It is, I believe it's plastic, but they have like a rubberized coating on it, so it feels pretty good. The keys do not have a lot of travel to them, so the key travel's a little shallow. And I'm usually a fan of Lenovo keyboards. I am not going to say that I'm not a fan of this one, but I've seen better Lenovo keyboards. And the one we're looking at here is actually a little less powerful than the one that they're currently selling on Amazon. So I would say from a performance perspective, this one has the Pentium Gold. This is the Intel 7505. And this is a Tiger Lake processor, which has 2 cores. And I'm guessing it's going to perform under the this won't be as powerful as the i3 version of this. So if we were to like compare this one to the Core i3, I think the areas where the i3 will do a little better is probably in graphics, which on a Chromebook is not as important. But we'll take a look and see what we can run on it. And this is an Intel-based Chromebook. And Mike L says, yeah, they do. Actually, we just looked at, the other day, we looked at an HP that had a 3x2. There is a 3x2 HP, so that the one we looked at recently was a tablet Chromebook, but there's also a 3x2 HP laptop, but it's just got like a Tiger, what's the, gosh, I'm losing it, Gemini Lake chip, so it doesn't have like one of the higher performing Intel chips. All right, so we're just waiting for the update to happen here. And what it's also doing right now is it's downloading all of our apps, our Android apps. This looks like a little welcome to Chromebook thing. It's amazing how many more things there are in Chrome OS versus the prior years. And we did a video the other day on a Chromebook. It ended up being being much longer than I thought it was going to be. And this is a 1080p native display. And I think I'm just going to run it at that. There is a fan. I'm hearing it run a little bit. Yeah, so you have some vents here at the bottom, and it exhausts out the back. Now, what's interesting, let's take a look and see. It put my command prompt on. Yeah, so we got to do the Linux environment here. So we like to do that too. And we're going to allocate 10 gigs for that. And now I'm starting to feel the difference between like an i3 and this Pentium Gold processor. It's a little, yeah, it's okay. It was getting a little sluggish for a minute, but I think that is just because it's doing an update and I'm downloading the Linux thing, all that stuff at the same time. Now, what's funny though is that we had started the update and it's kind of frozen here. So let's see if that, I bet you that Linux thing is taking up some resources. Yeah, it's kind of frozen. So let's let it catch up. So George says, wish I caught my live stream on the framework. I got my dad the i3 version of this Chromebook not too long ago. Yeah, let me know what you think about it, because that's the one that's on Amazon, and I think it's pretty fairly priced. It seems like it's a very good price for the configuration. I would like to see 8 gigs of RAM on Chromebooks these days, just because they do more than they have in the past. But you know, I think for what most people might do with a Chromebook, this is probably fine. And we're just going to let all these updates happen. This takes a little bit of time because I don't like to start testing these things until I've got everything updated to the current version. So William wants to hook up 2 external hard drives so you can use both of them at the same time. Yes, if you're out of USB ports, you can get like a USB hub. That would work. Just know that you're sharing the bandwidth on that hub. So, you know, if you're hitting both drives at the same time, you're not going to get the performance that you would get out of them individually. And we'll let this thing do its thing. So one of the things that's great about Chromebooks is that they run Linux apps. And this is true on even the lower end ARM-based Chromebooks. So you can get you can do a lot of fun stuff on these things. Yes, and if you have an unpowered, right, so that's a good point that NC Strev makes here too. So if you are looking to do the USB hub, definitely get a powered hub for sure, because then the hub will power the devices you connect. So yeah, I started late today, Eric, so we'll be probably wrapping up around 4:30 or so. All right, so we are installing Linux and we're running the device updater on here right now. So I'll let that finish up here for a second. Now this is a 2-in-1. So when you flip it back like this, it should, let's see if it does it, it should go into tablet mode. So you can actually use it as a tablet. And Chrome OS has been getting better at its tablet functionality, but it's still like not fully baked yet in my opinion. But the hinge on it is very solid. But it does take up the bottom here as you move it, so you have to hold down the bottom portion. And it looks like I just locked myself out. Let me get myself back in here. There does not appear to be any biometrics on this. So there does not appear to be a fingerprint reader. So it's password only. I think you can start to attach devices now. I'm not sure. Here's a good suggestion on a 3x2 Chromebook from Bryce Night World. The Acer Spin 713 is 3x2. That's a great deal for an i5. Yeah, and you always get the best speed if you put in a NVMe on one of those gaming laptops for sure. Most definitely. All right, so we're going to let this thing update here real quick. And give me 1 second. I just got to step away for 1 second, but I will be right back. So watch the laptop and talk amongst yourselves. All right, I'm back. And it is exactly where it was, where I left off. I think I killed it. I probably should not have been running an update and the Linux installation at the same time here. So we may have to reboot this thing and see what happens. Well, let's give it a second here and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, the build quality feels fine. You know, you have this large bezel here at the bottom. This is kind of like, you know, a very familiar design we've seen from Lenovo. It kind of follows the idea pads that they've had for a long time. And I think what I'm going to do actually is just do a reboot here, because that update combined with the Linux installation at the same time, it was not happy with me. So let's, oh, there it goes. Let's see if the update goes through now. Yeah, the windows are moving better now, so let's see. It's been like stuck at 79%. So WL Chung says that you can log into a Flex 5 with an unlocked mobile phone. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it did offer that as an alternative when I booted it up. Right, you could do that. All right, you know what I'm going to do here? I am going to do something I don't typically recommend, which is just turning it off completely. This is my fault. I totally overloaded it. So we're going to start from scratch, because I think what it's also doing in the background was it was downloading some of the Android apps that we usually test out on these things too. So I set it up for failure. So we're going to reboot and try again. And also, this is the lower performing one. So the one that I'm linking to on Amazon is actually a better performing machine, and I think a very reasonable price. So that one might be worth looking at. And the fan on it is pretty quiet. It's running right now because it's doing a bunch of stuff, but it's not obnoxiously loud. All right, so let's jump into the updates again here. And we're going to have it check for updates again. And I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to let it do its thing. And we'll see if the Android apps are done downloading. And it's going to reboot when that's done. Now, Yana's wondering, how sharp is the screen? It looks good. It's a nice IPS display. You know, typically Lenovo puts some really nice displays on these devices. I don't have the nits on this. The colors look good though. It doesn't look cold. It doesn't look like a cheap display. A lot of times you see like these cheap cold displays, but this one looks pretty good. 1080p. This is 16:9, and some folks in the chat are talking about how they prefer a 3:2. And it's funny because I've been looking at a lot of 3:2s and a lot of 16:10s. So you definitely notice a difference in that lack of extra height on here. It's definitely a more narrow screen to look at. Northwoods Peachtree is here. Hello there. And Milos is here. And Sean says, oops. Yep, it was my oops. But you know, it's still stuck at that 79%. This must be like a big OS update that it's doing. So I'm going to let it just sit here and do its thing. I'll be patient, and then we'll reboot it. This is what happens when we first boot these machines up for the first time. So that's why I have Jake take a lot of the laptops that we feature here on the channel to kind of set up offline. So we'll just wait another minute or two here. It's still stuck at 79%. But I'm assuming it's doing something, so we'll just wait it out. But if you got questions, ask them. But it looks pretty good. Yeah, it's nothing fancy. Like, it's not more than what I would expect for the price point. We're just stuck on that update, so we'll let that finish up, and then we'll continue onward. If you got questions, ask them. Yeah, it's kind of frozen up here. Very interesting. So I'm going to put this in the chat because a lot of people are asking. So this has a Pentium 7505, which is a Tiger Lake derivative. It's called a Pentium Gold. And if you want to look for it, go to the Amazon link that you see in the description. It's going to take you to my live stream. And this one right now with a better processor is selling for $329. So I think the one that I'm linking to is better than the one we're actually testing. All right, so I'm just going to put that chat in there. We'll pin that. And now it's up to 83%. We're almost done with the update here. Then we can get to work on it. Rich is wondering, can I show the hinge? Yeah, the hinge is nice. It feels, so it's nice about these Lenovo hinges, at least on these IdeaPad machines, is that it's nice and stiff. So when you put the display in place here, it'll bounce a little bit, but it's not springy. But it will stay put wherever you leave it. And then you can drop it into tablet mode. So one advantage of the large bezel here on the bottom is that you have a place for your thumb to go. So you end up with this really big display here. I have to check on pen compatibility. I think the USI pens work with this. So you get a lot of range of motion. So you can use it like a tablet. And you can, of course, orient it, and then you can have it, if you're like on a plane or something, you can just put it in display mode and watch your movies and stuff. So it's pretty flexible. This is a design that Lenovo has used on their PCs for many years. And what you saw there is that when you flip it out of laptop mode, Chrome OS will put itself into the tablet version, which becomes more touch-centric. And Eric is wondering, can we test? Yes, we will definitely test the Linux stuff in a few minutes once we reboot. Khan is here. Hey, Khan. Are all Play Store apps running? Yeah, for the most part, you'll see a little less compatibility on this one because the Intel Chromebooks I found, not all the apps work on the Intel Chromebooks. A lot of them do. So the Google Play Store will look identical to what it might look like on a tablet. So for example, games are kind of front and center here. So Roblox, apparently I have Roblox installed on this because I think we had a live stream where somebody was asking about it. So that's downloading right now. Among Us is on there. Pokemon Unite, Soldier Smash. So looks like most of the popular games are available. And what these will do is they install kind of alongside your other applications. I found on the Android apps that it's nice to use them on a Chromebook that has a touch screen because that will give you, more of the natural interface. And while we're doing the update here, I just want to check on the DRM status here too. And it's running a little slow because it's updating, it's downloading stuff. Yeah, the update's almost done. And I am going to check the DRM level. One handgun wants to know, do I do ad block? I do ad block, and I do it for security. Yeah, I think if if you're in the market for a Chromebook, you know, the one that I'm linking to on Amazon is a really good deal because it has the i3, which is going to be faster than what this one is capable of. Oh, Roman brings up a good point. I bet you we probably will see more Intel compatibility. Now, what's interesting, though, is the Android apps on Windows 11 are coming in through Amazon's App Store. Isn't that funny? But I can't imagine them not putting their apps up on Google Play because it just makes sense to do that. So weight on this is about 3 pounds. Not too heavy. And it's definitely more top heavy. The display feels like it weighs more than the rest of the unit does. It's mostly plastic, although this part is metal. So it's got a metal hinge, a metal back lid, but the keyboard deck here is plastic along with the bottom. Hey, Bruce Johnston is here. Hello there, Bruce. Good to see you. Yeah, I think if you're in the market, so it's funny is that another retailer is selling this one right now with as configured, and they're selling this for more than what the i3 is currently selling for on Amazon right now. So I think this one's a good deal. And we're going to let it reboot here. So Bruce, I don't know if you've tried this with your Amazon tablet, but there is a relatively easy way to get the Google Play Store to run on the Amazon tablets. And we did that on a live stream a little while back. It was actually pretty simple. Frank, I answered you. It's 3 pounds. 3 pounds. I'll put it in the, I'll amend the thing here. I can't edit my chat comment, it looks like. I was going to say, I'll add it to the pinned chat. Now I'll just pin this one. Okay. And we'll place the pin with that. Okay. So let me log back into it. So now we are up to date. And it does have a fan on board. You usually see that with the Intel machines. But it's not that loud. It's like super quiet. All right, so now we are up to date. And what I need to check now is to see if it's done installing all of the Android apps on here. So what happens is that when you start downloading your Android apps on Chrome, your Chromebook syncs to your Google account. So if I log into this account on my daughter's Chromebook upstairs, it is the exact same thing. All the apps install, everything is exactly where you left it. And that's one of the things that it's kind of neat about Chrome OS, especially in an educational environment, because you can, your kid could break the Chromebook and they just give you another one and you're right back where you left off. All right, so that's continuing to install apps. So we're not going to run any benchmarks just yet. But I do want to check the DRM level. Now, one of the issues with Chromebooks has been the fact that it doesn't support, let's see, so wideband is still L1. So when you watch media on a Chromebook, your inclination might be to install the Android version of the app, like going and get the Netflix Chrome Android app, but you only get like standard definition video if you install the Android version of Netflix on your Chromebook. So to get the high def video, you got to use the browser because they haven't updated the Android version of, or the Chrome OS version of Android to support high definition video in their apps. So you're a little limited on that. So wideband here is still L1. One of these days. And it's confusing because do you go to the website or do you go to the app? Well, I'm telling people go to the app because you will get a better quality of streaming video that way. All right, let's take a look and see if this thing is done installing apps. Okay, so it's got, oh my goodness. So, all right, it's installing 3D Mark. We're going to go with that. I'm going to cancel a bunch of these. Cancel that. We'll do Crossy Road. Yeah, we don't need League of Legends. Let's cancel that. Yeah, I think we're good there. Okay, so we'll let that finish all of its downloads. And while that is going, what we'll do is get the Linux thing going here. So we'll click on Next. Now it's funny, when we were playing around with the HP Chromebook, the tablet one the other day, I discovered that the sudo app, the apt-get stuff wasn't working right. So we'll see if they had a little glitch in the system. Chanflay98, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. All right, we're just going to let that finish up here. So I did not get a Switch OLED. There just doesn't seem to be anything compelling about it for me. Like, I'm happy with the Switch that I have. And then you get into the whole issue with Animal Crossing. And how do we get the Animal Crossing island to migrate over? It's a nightmare. But I do have the Pixel 6. I haven't actually started playing with it yet, but I will this weekend. So we got a bunch of fun activities going on in town for Halloween, so I'm going to play around with the phone then, but it looks pretty cool. This is the Pixel 4, or Pixel 6 Pro. So it's got some heft to it. It's big. I like my phones a little smaller, so I have the iPhone 13 Pro, the smaller of the two. So I like this size phone better. But the regular 6 doesn't have a lot of the features that the Pro has. So this has more cameras, it has more RAM, has a better display. Like, there's a lot of things that are better with the Pro versus the regular 6, but they look very similar. And you know, Apple's phones are almost at parity now between the big one and the little one. So here's my thought on the Switch. I'm not going to review it because from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense for me to, because so many other people are reviewing it already. But here's what I would say about it. If you are in the market, if you don't own a Switch and you're in the market for one, I think that's the one to get because it has the nicest display, especially if you're going portable with it. If you don't go portable all that often, or you can find a good price on the non-OLED one, I think the non-OLED is very nice. But the screen is larger and it looks better, especially, you know, with in the darker scenes of a game, for sure. All right, so we got our command prompt here. So let me just do, and what we're going to do is just check on all of the updates here, and then we'll install a couple of Linux apps that I like to demo in my reviews. And what I've asked it to do right now is just get an update of all of the different packages that are out there. So we're going to run that real quick. So let that run. And then I'm going to install LibreOffice. And we're still waiting for some of those Android apps to come down. So yeah, that's the other reason. It's hard to get them. I mean, unless you really think you know what I mean? Like, if you don't own a Switch, the OLED one is probably worth getting. But, you know, if you're doing a lot of TV, if you're hooking it up to a TV, you know, that's what I would go with. And Roman says that Nintendo announced the delay. I didn't hear that. How could they delay it? It's not that difficult, is it, for them? And I am excited about the Steam Deck. I think it's going to be a neat little device. I did put my $5 deposit in for one. Now, here's the other thing. We interviewed Major Nelson this past week, and to this point, he wanted to buy a Switch, but the kids really wanted a game only available on Xbox. So if you have a Microsoft Xbox Game Pass Ultimate account, I'm pretty sure it's open to everybody now. You can stream the games on your phone without even having to own an Xbox at all, which I think is pretty cool. All right, so now we're going to just download LibreOffice real quick onto this. So I always like to demo that because I think it's one of the really good examples of what Linux is all about on a Chromebook, because you can run software locally that will mimic the things that you may be uncomfortable sharing with Google, right? So that's something I like to do with these. Bruce is wondering, would I ever switch to Android? Probably not. I use Android. I'm not like not using it. I use it quite a bit. I just don't use it as my daily driver. I'm just so invested in the iPhone, in the sense that I've got the watch, of course, but also the photos and the video on the iPhone are really good. And I use a Mac for video editing, so it's very easy as part of my workflow to bring in B-roll footage, for example. On Thursday of next week, I'm going up to New York City for an event, which is awesome. So excited to go to something. And when I'm there, I'll be shooting video on my iPhone, and by the time I go to edit it, it'll be waiting for me in the iCloud account. I can just pull down the video and get to work. It's pretty cool. So Bryce says that they delayed it because of, oh, good. Yeah, because the price, you're right, the price was ridiculous. And my concern with this package that they were going to offer was what happens to the other price point? Because they called this the expansion pack. There didn't seem to be a lot of value added to it because they were essentially taking an emulator and just making it unavailable to the people that were paying the other fee. And so, what motivation would there be for Nintendo to offer anything on the entry point, right? So for me, I was like, I just don't see the value in that. I mean, the Animal Crossing thing, maybe, but you have to be online to play it. So that was kind of a crazy thing. If I have the kids on the plane and they want to play Animal Crossing's expansion, they can't if I'm a member of that. All sorts of stuff. And Ruben says I can use apps instead of apt-get. Shows progress during, oh, okay. I didn't know that. I will do that next time. I just love seeing all this stuff go on the screen here. It's just kind of fun to watch. And Bruce is also wondering about the MacBook Pro. So I ordered one. I ordered the 14. And I don't care about Face ID. I'm okay with the fingerprint thing. I am happy about MagSafe. I did like USB-C charging, and I'll probably still do that because I have docking stations set up on some of the places where I plop myself down. So I'll probably still use the Thunderbolt for that. The notch, I'm going to have an opinion on it when I see it. I think I need to see it and see how distracting it is. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for me, although I could see apps that have a lot of menu items being an issue. All right, so let's see where we're at on the install process here. It's kind of like watching paint dry sometimes with these things. And it's defaulting, it's funny, it's defaulting to my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. I think it's just the order in which these things were connected. All right, let's see what's happening here. So we need to check on the Android apps here. So let's go back to Google Play. I just froze it up again. You know what's funny? This thing does not multitask well, and I think it's this one is like the low-end Intel chip. So the i3 that I'm linking to, I think is going to be a much better experience. But it's definitely like a little laggy. But I have it doing a lot of stuff at the same time. So right now it's installing LibreOffice. On Linux, we've got the Chrome browser up here, and then we've got the Google Play Store. I'm assuming it's still downloading apps in the background. So let's see what it's doing. Because when I first get these things set up, there's a lot of things that it has to do first. Okay, so it looks like we have 4 pending updates on the Android side. We'll get that done. And that's the other thing. When I used to review Chromebooks initially, you take them out of the box, and you turn them on, and you start working because there's nothing to install. Now it's got like all the, it's loaded up with stuff. Now, also of note here, it looks like, because this one only has 32 gigs of storage, so I'm already using up most of my storage with what I installed on it. So you're limited in that regard. Although, in fairness, 10 gigs has been allocated to the Linux container here, so that's probably why it's doing that. All right, let's see what we got here. And Carlos Pascal wrote a nice note on Twitter, so thank you for that. Okay, we're almost there. Then we can do a couple of benchmarks. So yeah, you know what? I think my problem here is that it's on the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and I don't want to stop it. So I'm going to wait for this to finish up. Kieran wants to know if I reviewed the HP CX5. I don't think so. Is that a gaming laptop? I know I'm getting in one from HP that is a gaming laptop. I think that might be on the way. Let me take a look. Let me see. No, I'm getting in the Victus 16. That's coming in, I think, next week. So I have not looked at the CX5, but I can try to get one in. Oh, the CX5 is a Chromebook. I will check it out. I just reviewed the X211. So that's the one we did that. And Rich Daly remembers the day when you could, you just use a browser. And it still is kind of that. You know, what I have to do is I've got to go through and uninstall a bunch of the Android apps that I'm not using in testing, because that's what's been throwing me off here. So, because what happens is I have this Google test account that I just kind of roll over from one to the next. And depending on the Chromebook, there might be an app that I have installed that I want to test, and it might be relevant for the Chromebook I was looking at for that app, and then all of a sudden it's getting installed every time I get another one. So it is a problem of too much tech. So I reviewed one of the very first Chromebooks. It was an HP, actually. I think it was just called the HP Chromebook. It was like a little ARM-based thing. Let's see if I can find it. This goes way back. The HP... Let's see if I can find it on my thing here. And we'll let that finish up. So tonight we have a WD. We're going to review this tonight on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. And then over the weekend, we're going to look at this tiny little cell phone that we had a live stream about the other day. Look at this thing. This is the Unihertz Jelly 2. It is a full-featured Android smartphone, but it's tiny. It's got a 3-inch display, but it runs everything. Like there's no, looks like it just crashed on me. There's nothing that it doesn't run, except right now it seems to be upset with me. No command, it says. What happened? Maybe it's dead. Hopefully it works. I didn't do anything to it. So it's a neat little Android phone. And so this review will be up either Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on how tonight's video does. Pretty neat little phone. Cal is on Amazon. Good morning to you. Yeah, so all of the original Chromebooks, if I'm not mistaken, were actually running on ARM processors, because all they had to do was load the browser up. Because that was all they did, was just the browser. None of this Linux stuff, none of this Android stuff. It was all browser. George says, I'll be glad to see if the Linux experience has improved, specifically the UI in LibreOffice. Messed around with it on his... Yeah, it's not perfect yet. And I found some Chromebooks are better than others on the video. And once this finishes up, I'm going to switch it over to my faster Wi-Fi, because it does support Wi-Fi 6. And then we'll run a couple of benchmarks. And then I'm going to jet. Got a busy weekend. So my 8-year-old is going to run in a race tomorrow morning. And then in the evening, we have our big pumpkin festival. It's like a Halloween thing. So we're going to go to that. All right, so now if we go into our start menu here, so this is now a Linux app that's going to load up. And there you go. So it feels pretty good. You know, like I said, it's going to vary from Chromebook to Chromebook as far as the video performance is concerned. I can't remember. I look at so many computers, I can't remember from one to the next anymore. But I looked at one recently where the video on some of the Linux apps was like all out of whack. But this one seems to be doing better. So we can go into LibreOffice Calc here, pop that open. Seems to be pretty snappy. But it's neat. Once you get the Linux apps installed, they just kind of run here alongside your web browser. And this is where like having more RAM and storage makes a big difference. So for example, the one that we looked at the other day, that HP X2, I'm just going to reboot and run a benchmark after we come back up. That HP X2 had 8 gigabytes of RAM. So it was able to handle multiple things going at the same time. 4 gigs is going to limit you a bit. Even though Chrome OS is very optimized for what it is, it's still, there's still limitations. So if you're looking to do Linux and Android, I think trying to get 8 gigs makes a lot of sense now on a Chromebook. And Robin says, I must have hit the wrong, that phone is so tiny that I hit both buttons at the same time. Yeah, so now it's up. So yeah, I'll have this review of this coming up this weekend. But it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a very functional smartphone. It actually works. Like, it's not a gimmick. I mean, the gimmick is the size, but the phone itself is actually pretty good. Jassy is here. Hello there. And Patrick Cheng had the Acer C720. What's funny about that one, that was one of the first ones, the first Chromebooks that I looked at that felt like, hey, this could be something. I think when they started putting those higher end Celeron chips in the Chromebooks, that's when they started performing better. And I was like, this is something interesting. Okay, so let's begin with the browserbench.org test. Now remember, this one has the 7505 processor. I have the specs linked in the pinned comment. So the i3 that I'm linking to is probably the one you want to look at because it'll perform, like everything that you're going to see here performance-wise is going to be better on the i3 version. Jolt Dude remembers having, yeah, there's still a lot of issues with Android apps on Intel CPUs. I've seen a lot of that. I've never tried this ROM, but I guess you could do that, right? You could use the Chromium beta browser and get 2 different Chrome browsers. Some people install Firefox on their Chromebooks. It's all kind of fun because whatever's installable in Linux will run. It's pretty cool. And it looks like Dell was offering 4 gigs of RAM as an upgrade. It was an extra cost option. So I guess what was it, 2 gigs by default? Wildlife is on Chrome, except I don't think it's going to work with this based on the Android version, but it's available to download. All right, so here's our first result. So this came in at 103. And if I look on if you go to Lon.TV/benchmarks, you can see where this will come in. So this chip, again, this is not the i3 version. So Pentium 7505. So this is kind of in league with like an 8th generation i5 chip. It's in that ballpark. So that'll give you an idea as to where you might see this come into play. So I think what I'm going to do is just run it one more time because the margin of error was about 5 points. So let's just see if a refresh will give us a slightly different score. But I think that's about where I expected it to come in. And David makes a good suggestion here. The problem is I'm trying not to get too far into the weeds with benchmarks. I really try to keep it simple. The benchmarks I run are ones that I think are, if you run them on enough machines, you've got a good, apples to apples kind of comparison. And it's hard because a majority of the people that are going to watch these videos are never going to install Linux on them. So that's part of what kind of weighs into it. But we will try to see if we can get some of the 3D Mark stuff going on it. And Roman went with, yeah, that's right, because for a while, a lot of the Chromebooks did, some had the beta capability of running Android and many didn't. And 98.8, but this is plus or minus 6.3. So I think that score we got is the valid one. So about 103. So, it's definitely not going to be as quick as that i3. And we were seeing that as we were kind of playing around with it. Now, the other thing we can try out here is the 3D Mark benchmarks. So let's see what happens when we go to load those up. I'll use the touch screen for the heck of it. I forgot I have Game Pass on here, too. Oops. So where did the stuff is like just popping up? It's weird. I remember telling it to not install half of this stuff, and it still did anyhow. Except the one that I'm looking for. And the other problem is it makes all of the Android apps circles. So you get confused. There it is. Okay, so we'll run that. Oh, this is new. Check this out. There's a interface that allows you, I don't remember seeing this before. This must be a recent update. So you can change the behavior of the app. Oops. So you can have it run in phone mode, tablet mode, or have it be resizable. Well, that's interesting. We'll leave it in tablet mode just for the heck of it here. So if we go to wildlife, for example, you can see that it's not compatible. So the one that we can run is Slingshot. So, and the good news is that's the one that we typically run on all of our Android devices anyhow. And we'll just download that real quick. Actually, let me switch my Wi-Fi over. That's a new feature. I haven't seen that before. And then now that I have it in this full screen, though, can I get it back again? Let's see. Yeah, look at that. Right here. That's cool. All right, so what we're going to do real quick before we do anything else is I'm just going to go in and turn off the demo. And there should be an option to run this in its unlimited, or its okay, so I got to restart the app. So let's do that real quick. Now this is going to run in a window, but it's okay because it renders out at the same speed regardless. So Mark Smith is here wondering, can we adjust the list of apps? Yeah, you can move things around in there. And I've got to go. I really, what I need to do is spend some time tonight just like organizing this, because if I organize it on this one, all of the other Chromebooks that we install this on will also get updated. So that'll be something I'm going to look at. And we have done this before. The last time we tried, Steam was broken on Chrome OS. But I can try to get it working again, because all the guides that I was following didn't seem to work anymore. And George says that this resizing thing was in beta. Yeah, you know, because we just looked at that Chromebook last week and I didn't see that feature. So that must be new in the, this is on the regular channel. And Bruce says that there's a new launcher coming soon that'll let you alphabetize. That'll be helpful. And iTommy Gun here turned his Flex 11 with an N5000 into a Chromebook. That must have been a very good way to go. So this is actually too powerful for the Slingshot test. It maxed out. So we could run the other one, but the problem is I have nothing to compare it to if I do that. So, and unfortunately, Wildlife does not run on here, because that's the one I really would like to try. But that one is not working. So there you go. All right, so what else do we want to do on this thing? Maybe we could try to get Steam to install. So let's see what the latest options are for that. This one is as of August, so this might help. All right, so let's try this here. Oops, I just closed it out. Hang on a second. Yeah, for a while it was really easy to get Steam installed, and then it like whatever was working stopped working. This is a crouton one. We're not going to do that. How to install Steam. Oh, that's right. There's a Debian package you can get. Let's try that. So you can actually launch this. And so it's running the installer right now. I forgot about that. But yeah, this won't be a good Steam experience. And then we have to also figure out how to turn on the GPU acceleration. That's the other thing we have to do. All right, let's see what's happening here. Did it install? So let's see if we have, yep, there it is. Let's see if it boots up. Now again, I got to get the, it looks like it's got some more stuff to download here. We also have to get the GPU acceleration to work on this also. And I forgot, was it flags? Yes, and then I can go to GPU. And I don't know if they have, yeah, Crostini GPU support. We're going to set that to enabled. And we're going to have to restart when that's done. But let's see if Steam installed. Yes, so now we're getting the Steam runtime environment. And now it's, so yeah, it looks like Steam got easy again. You just find the deb file and you're good to go. All right, so now, we'll see where this goes. Yep, I just saw your chat. Looks like you were able to, you were able to do that telepathically with me there. But this was a lot easier than it was before. Okay, so now that's going, but we have to restart so that we can get the GPU acceleration. So I'm going to let this finish installing. I don't think, first of all, we got a problem with storage space. I don't know how much space we have to even install anything. And when we do, the other factor is this is not a very powerful Intel chip. So the graphics performance is going to be pretty subpar. I don't know if I'm in a loop here or not. I'm hoping this is just a, we did this before. All right, we'll let that keep going there. But yeah, I think the i3 version that I've got linked is a pretty good deal. And I got more stuff at my mailbox. I've been getting so much stuff in, it's crazy. Like, you know, I was running out of things to look at, and now I'm like completely inundated. All right, press turn to continue. Let's see what happens now. So did it install Steam? I'm pretty sure Steam is done. Or we're going to be looping through this forever. So George is asking about Steam on ARM Chromebooks. It's impossible because there isn't any there isn't anything that runs through Steam on ARM, as far as I know. And it looks like we're caught in a loop on this Steam thing, which is disappointing. But this is the kind of experience you have with this. It's like constant trial and error. Let me see if it put something else in the Linux apps folder here. Oops. Oh, there we are. Okay, good. Now we're there. Okay, so let's restart. Okay, so that's working now. Let me restart this, and we'll get the GPU going. So we just have to get that GPU acceleration. It won't be great, but it'll be something. And I don't believe they, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I don't think you can use an external drive with Linux at the moment. I could be incorrect in that assumption, but let me know. All right, so now we'll load up Steam here. I've got about another 15 minutes, everybody. Sorry for, we took so, what is this? Oh, geez. Now it's not working. It was working a minute ago, but not now. And I wonder if that GPU acceleration is what's causing it not to work. And I bet you that if we go down to my Linux apps here, how much you want to bet LibreOffice doesn't work anymore either? Let's see. And when you first reboot, the Linux apps will take longer because they have to run load up the container. So right now on Amazon, the i3 version of this is $329, which I think is a very good price. I'm seeing this one selling for more, believe it or not, with the lower powered chip. So this is the Pentium Gold. It's a 7505. It is a Tiger Lake chip. Yeah, I think we broke it. It's kind of par for the course. Yeah, we're using about 50% of the storage right now for the Linux container. But these apps are not booting up anymore. So whatever we did to enable the GPU broke the X Windows server. So I'm going to have to rejigger everything. But yeah, the one I'm linking to is actually, I think, a pretty good deal. And you know what's funny? The Linux stuff was working great for a while, and now it's starting to feel like it's just more problematic again. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I think for its intended use, which if I'm not mistaken is a lot of development kinds of things, I don't think it's gotten any worse. But as you see here, so I bet you if we go back into the Chrome flags here and turn off that GPU, which will then kill the gaming support, you will see now that those things will load up again. But you're not going to have much of a great gaming experience on Steam without hardware graphics acceleration. Okay, so we're back. So now we're back to the initial state, and let's see if that Steam thing will load up this time. I'm pretty sure it will now. It will take, again, an extra couple of seconds to load because it's got to get that runtime going, but then it should... No, it's still giving me the error. Well, I totally destroyed it, didn't I? Let's see if LibreOffice loads up. I've been hearing rumors that they're going to that they were going to have like an actual supported version of Steam for Chromebooks. I'm not sure what happened with that. But what you can do, yeah, this is just destroyed. So we can, now the nice thing is when you break Linux on your Chromebook, you just delete it and reinstall it, and you don't have to like redo the whole operating system. So that's good at least. And you can also run Game Pass on this sucker. So let's try that real quick. And then I got to run. All right, so let me log into my Game Pass account here. Bear with me, folks. What is I got to remember my password now. Let's see. Hang on a minute here. Oops. Oh, okay. Let me try that. Okay, now I gotta do my two-factor, but then we can get Game Pass working. And Major Nelson told me on the interview that we did the other day, if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. He told me that you can stream to consoles now also. And this is one of the things that I think there's like a really good value add with Game Pass. And what I'm also going to do here, do I have the right cable? I do. Perfect. I'm just going to plug this game controller in real quick. Although I don't have the right cable, shoot. Okay, so we're just going to do Bluetooth. All right, so I'm going to connect this with Bluetooth because your game controllers work with this too. So you can hook your Xbox controller up and do Game Pass on your Chromebook. And I've been playing, I don't have a lot of time this past couple weeks, but I've been futzing around a little bit with Game Pass on my phone. And the reason is that you don't have to wait to download the game to see if it's something you want to get into. So that's been kind of fun to just kind of stream it real quick, see if it's something I'm interested in. Yes, we did reboot after disabling acceleration. These things boot quick. They really do. All right, so show me some great games. And let's see what we've got going on here. So I go to cloud. So this is what's cool about this. So I selected cloud. Again, it's a little flaky still. And these are some of the games that I've been playing with the girls, my two daughters. I'd let them go through and pick out something that looks okay and something they might like to play. So let's try River City Girls here real quick, see how that comes together. And so this is the Android app running on the Android side of Chrome OS. At least it's supposed to be. What happened? This has worked in the past also, although it doesn't seem to be working right now. Oh, there it goes. But you see how it is? It's like the Chrome OS stuff is good and solid. The rest of this is kind of like iffy. Although, wait a minute, didn't they just do, I forgot about that. That's right, there is a WebRTC version. 1 second, I think I have to go in a different way. Because that's right, didn't they just do, let me try it differently here. Cloud gaming. Because I did a whole video on this. Yes. So you go in through, hang on a second, let me just look this up real quick. Yeah, so let me reboot this thing first of all, because it's all out of whack. because the iPhone has to work through the web browser. So let's see, Xbox Cloud Gaming with Game Pass. Because there's a way to just get on the web and do it. And I did it in my video. Let me look and see if I can find that real quick. Yes, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to play my own video here. This shows you how I can't remember anything from...
All right, so we got our Chromebook loaded up here. In full disclosure, this did come in free of
right.
charge from Google a little while back for review. This is the Pixelbook Go, but any Chromebook should work like this one's working right now. We are on Chrome OS 90, which is the latest version of Chrome OS. We went to xbox.com/play.
That's right. Okay, xbox.com/play. So let's try that and see what we get here. And I'm also going to turn on my AC again because it keeps connecting to my other one. Okay, so now we're connected. All right, so let's do sign in. But yeah, like things that worked before are now like not working as well as they did on Chrome. So it's been kind of hit or miss on these things. And these are things that it's not designed to do, but you know, like the things that you want it to do. And it was, you know, Steam is a great example. Like that was working almost universally on every, not well, depending on the computer, but it was working much more reliably than it is now. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I got to be careful about that. I've got the I turned off automatic content ID because I didn't want to ever do to other people what's been done to me. Hey, Smoke Monster is here. And he got his wife an X1 Carbon recently. That's a great computer. Super lightweight. Mark Smith has a Chewy Windows Android double boot. That's right, I forgot about that. I had one of those recently too, we looked at. All right, so now we are in, and I can run Game Pass on here now. My controller is connected. So let's go and check out maybe something faster moving. Let's do Forza Horizon 4. And we'll see how this looks. But this is what's cool about Xbox is that, so think about, play this out for a minute. You don't need an Xbox. All we've got here is a Chromebook and a web browser, although it's not running full screen here. We got to figure that out. Here, enter full screen. Look at that. And I can play Xbox games with no downloading. I mean, you do have to deal with the streaming, right? So you have that factor. But here we are on a Chromebook, on a web browser, and I can play Xbox games without having to own an Xbox. So what's the cost of entry now? Just the Game Pass subscription. All right? And everything's mapping correctly. I've got my controller here. I don't think this is running at, if it has any, I think this is like an Xbox One console that they put in their cloud. You know, so it doesn't look terrific to me at the moment. I am on Wi-Fi though, which is probably contributing to it. Let me see if I can adjust the quality up here. Yeah, so it looks like it's kind of running at like maybe a 720p. Let me go back to full screen. So maybe if I had the Ethernet connected, it would be a little sharper. And granted, this is like designed for mobile, and we're on a 13-inch 1080p display, so it looks a little muddy. But you can, you know, for the price of a Chromebook and the subscription, you've got all these games you can play. And then if you ever buy the Xbox, when you hook it up, it will it'll just, you know, sync up your save games. So it's pretty cool. And then when you're done, you just hit the thing here and quit the game. And you can jump out. So pretty cool. And I will give you this, George. Yeah, George is right. Stadia is probably one of the best ones. GeForce Now is a close second. And that you can also do from here. So yeah, so I think the Game Pass is just not quite yet optimized for the browser. It is in the sense that it's optimized for the iPhone's browser, I think. But look at all the games you get. I mean, you get a lot of games on here. It just keeps growing. Like, that's what's crazy about it. I mean, this is more than I'll ever have time to play. But what's nice about streaming it is that you can stream it for a little bit and decide, hey, do I want to, install this and download that big game? They have all the Yakuza games. Wreckfest is a lot of fun. I like that one a lot. So, good stuff. And I've got USB dongles all over the place. I just didn't hook it up. I don't think it's going to improve things on Xbox Cloud Gaming. I might be wrong, but I don't think it would. So I am on Wi-Fi 6. This supports Wi-Fi 6, and I've got nothing else connected to it at the moment. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and this is another good point from David, that the 4 gigs is really not enough anymore for a Chromebook. So I think you need a little bit more for the best experience. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much out of time here, folks. I got to go get ready to welcome the kids home. I did get a lot done this week, so I'm pretty happy with the output level. But I've got a ton of computers to review. I've got Dells and Lenovos and everything else. But this one is pretty much where I want it to be. I'm going to probably reinstall Linux, but beyond that, it's pretty good. George wants to know, would a 14, I think if you do a 14-day trial of Ultimate, so I'm pretty sure Ultimate includes it now for everybody. I might be wrong about that. But I think game streaming is now available for every Ultimate subscriber. And Brandon Wallace correctly points out that you can do it now on the console too. And yeah, I've got one of those pluggable ones. That works pretty well for me too. Yeah, so I got a little bit more work to do on this one, but at least we got it kind of set up and operating. But not a bad Chromebook. It's pretty attractive, not all that heavy. Oops, there goes my controller. Performance is okay. I think, again, the one that I'm linking to on Amazon is going to perform better than what you saw here, because the one on Amazon's an i3. That one's $329. I think that's a great deal. This one is a little more expensive where it's being sold. So I would suggest going with the Amazon one if that's the direction you're looking to head. So yeah, that's about it. I am going to go take care of some stuff, and I will catch you all on the next stream. I don't think I'm going to get to a stream this weekend because I've got so much going on. But if I do, we're going to do, the next stream we're going to do is one of those magazine openings, and I got a bunch of fun retro pixel frames to show you. So those will be kind of fun to include in that stream. So that's the plan. So set your notifications. If you're on Amazon, do a follow. And I will catch you all on the flip side. So have a good weekend, everybody. And Smoke Monster said, catch you on the flippy. Yep, right then and there. Hey, Smoke Monster, I'm going to go to Retro World Expo. And Bob from Retro RGB is going to be there, Smoke Monster. So I'll see him again. And then Metal Jesus is going to be there. Pat the NES Punk, the Gaming Historian. Lots of good, well-known retro gamers that I'm looking forward to meeting. So it's going to be a fun thing in almost about 2 weeks. So good stuff. All right, everybody. I will catch you on the next one. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Bye-bye.